Good afternoon. The Professions and Occupations and Administrative Process meet information. I'm trying to read this long title of the subcommittee. General Law Subcommittee will come to order. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. All right, we have a quorum. So we are going to start. We've got a bill that kind of contains some administrative business. We have two identical bills. We have House Bill 228, and we have patroned by Delegate McNamara, and we have House Bill 870, patroned by Delegate Carroll. They are identical bills, so we are going to incorporate House Bill 228 into House Bill 870, and then we will have Delegate Carroll come up and present House Bill 870.
Madam Chair, and move to incorporate.
Second.
All right, so moved and seconded to incorporate House Bill 228 into House Bill 870, and that is a recorded vote.
That's a voice.
A voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, those bills are incorporated. So Delegate Carroll, if you'd like to come to the podium to present House Bill 870, we would love to hear from you now.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. I stand before you as a member of the Virginia Society of CPAs. Our bill currently has an amendment.
Heard a motion to move the amendment. It's been seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the amended bill is before us. Delegate Carroll.
Yes. Madam Chair, members of the committee, HB 870 makes a targeted but technical update to the Virginia CPA licensure status under the Board of Accountancy. Specifically speaking, this bill's primary purpose is to modernize and clarify existing law, not to change the core licensure standards or lower professional requirements. Specifically, it clarified statute definitions used in the CPA regulation, and it updates the provision related to the licensures of inactive status and adds the emeritus status. These updates help ensure Virginia CPA's laws remain clear, consistent, and workable for licenses, regulators, and the public. The bill also provides the board with authority to adopt implementing regulations as well as the board to publish guidance addressing proper use of the title for former licensees. Importantly, as amended, this legislation has no fiscal impact and does not undermine public protection. It's supported by the accounting profession as a common sense cleanup. This bill is a part of a broader effort to keep Virginia's professional licensure framework up to date and competitive while maintaining our high standards.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any questions from members of the committee? All right, seeing none, I will ask if there's anyone in the audience who is here to speak in favor of the bill.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, thank you to the patron for bringing this bill. We appreciate her work with us on it. I'm Emily Walker with the Virginia Society of CPAs. She explained it very well, so I'll just say that we support the bill. Thank you.
All right, thank you. No one online for this one, right? Okay. Anyone here in the audience to speak in opposition? We have no one online. Committee operates by motion.
Move to report the substitute, Madam Chair.
Moved and seconded to report the substitute. The clerk will open the...
Does it incorporate?
We incorporated already.
Yes, substitute.
Okay. So the substitute's been moved and seconded to report. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll, and the bill reports 9-0. Thank you, Delegate Carroll. All right, let's see what we've got here. Delegate Hayes, do you want to go next?
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. You have before you House Bill 796, and we do have amendments to the legislation.
Moved and seconded to adopt the amendments. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the amended bill is before us. Delegate Hayes.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the committee, the purpose for this is to adjust the fees by regulatory boards as well as the recovery of disciplinary and monitoring costs. It repeals the provisions of law that requires following the close of a biennium when the account for the regulatory board within the Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation shows revenue to be a certain percentage greater than the expenses, and such regulatory board to distribute excess revenue to the current regulants and reduce its licensure. Madam Chair, members of the committee, this is a technical change to the fee setting process and does not raise fees. There are no mandatory or automatic increases under this legislation. It establishes one uniform standard for fee adjustments across DHP as well as DPOR. It requires annual financial assessments of regulatory boards. It creates an identical threshold for raising and lowering fees and includes optional indexing to inflation. Madam Chair, members of the committee, we have here today representative from DHP as well as DPOR, Aaron Barrett, as well as Steve Kirshner to present or answer any detailed questions that you might have.
All right, thank you. Before we go on to testimony, I will ask at this point, before we hear that, are there any questions from the committee for either the patron or the witnesses? And seeing none, we'll go ahead and hear from those who are here to speak in favor of the bill.
All right, Madam Chair, members of the committee, we would like to thank Delegate Hayes for bringing this joint proposal between our two agencies, Department of Health Professions and the Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation. Again, my name is Steve Kirshner. I'm the Director of the Licensing and Regulatory Program Division at DPOR. Just to reiterate what Delegate Hayes had said, this is a bill that will create one consistent standard for how our agencies go about our fee change process. We're both non-general fund agencies. All of our funding comes through our licensing fees. One of the longstanding challenges that we've had is the process to change a fee takes longer than the statute tells us to assess our fees. We're supposed to assess our fees every 2 years. It takes longer than that to change our fees, and so many of our boards struggle to keep up with rising costs. So this bill would streamline the fee change process. It would do that by basically reducing the change process to just a few steps. It does have procedural safeguards in place to protect the public. It gives the public a chance to look at the numbers before any decision is made. As the executive branch as well will be reviewing these numbers before any proposal is made, and our boards themselves will be voting on and making these decisions. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Madam Chair. Aaron Barrett on behalf of the Department of Health Professions. For all of the reasons that Mr. Kirshner and Delegate Hayes, who we very much appreciate bringing the bill, has stated, this is crucial to our agencies as they are non-general fund agencies. Additionally, the shifting of disciplinary costs that would be permitted would greatly help DHP in particular, which reported a sanction rate of 5,700 sanctions over the last year. And this would, again, shift the cost to the respondents who are found to have violated statutes and regulations of the regulatory boards of the agency. Thank you.
Thank you. Got more to speak?
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Paul Battaglia, AIA Virginia, representing Commonwealth architects across the Commonwealth. We support the bill.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and committee, thank you for having me. Christina Preisner with the ACEC Virginia, representing the consulting engineers, also under DPOR and APASODLA board, and we support the bill.
Thank you. All right. Is there anyone in the room here to speak in opposition to the bill? All right. Delegate Hayes, do you have any final words?
No, Madam Chair, that's all we have.
Committee operates by motion.
Madam Chair, I move to report.
Moved and seconded to report House as a. This one is. I don't have the report on 796.
I wrote it on mine.
Okay. All right, we might have a note to refer this, so we'll, if the motion can be to report and refer as amended, if we find that that's an error, we can correct that when we get to full, but at this point, the amendment, or the motion would be to report the
And refer to
amendment as amended and
as
refer
amended
to appropriations.
to refer to appropriations.
Yep, is there a second? Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded, the clerk will open the roll. All right, the clerk will close the roll, and the bill reports 9-0. And Delegate Hayes, are we hearing House Bill 707, or did you want to take that one by until next week?
Yeah, we're taking that one back.
Okay, we'll take that one by.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, members of the committee.
All right, thank you, Delegate. I do see Glass. Yeah, Delegate Glass, are you ready? Yeah. Just going to try to just go down the list here now. I know some people needed some time, and some people aren't here unless I don't see you. Come to the front, but I think I see everybody now. But Delegate Glass, we've got,
Four
you've got a
bills.
few bills, yeah?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Oh, you have a lot of bills, okay.
I'll be expeditious.
We got you. Would you like to start, where would you like to start, at House Bill 580?
That is
Wanna go in
perfectly fine. We can
numerical
start
order?
with 580. Would you like to? Yes,
Sure,
Madam
we'll go in
Chair.
numerical order, if that's all right with you. Okay, House Bill 580, you have the
House
floor.
Bill 580 before you. Thank you, Madam Chair. So House Bill 580 is representative of the times that we're in. You know what makes AI scams so successful? It's the fact that they can spread very quickly without us knowing. This is the second year that we brought this bill forward. It's an expansion, or the same way that we receive an Amber Alert or we receive weather alerts. If you're in the city of Norfolk, we get them all the time. We're asking the Attorney General's office to establish a AI fraud alert system, something where we can be able to receive the same way, again, we receive the inclement weather alerts or an Amber Alert if there's a fraud scam that is risen to the level that is determined by the Attorney General's office of Consumer Counsel. That is essentially the bill is to establish that.
All right, thank you, Delegate. Are there any questions from members of the committee? You can press your request to speak button. And seeing none, I will see if there's anyone in the room who would like to speak in favor of the bill. And anyone in the room who would like to speak in opposition to the bill. All right.
Madam Chair, I would like to move to report and refer to appropriations.
Yeah.
So moved and seconded to report and refer the bill to appropriations. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. The bill reports 9-0. Thank you, Delegate Glass. And so your next one is House Bill 1247. Is that correct?
That is correct. House Bill 1247 is the Aesthetics Licensure Compact.
All right, you have the floor.
Okay. So, again, I won't assume that everyone understands what a compact is. So I'm going to level set and establish what a compact is. The best compact, again, to sort of help you understand, is our license. If you have a Virginia license and you drive through North Carolina, your license is still valid. You just have to follow North Carolina's rules, because we've all agreed that that's the standard by which we would follow. However, if you stay in North Carolina for, say, over 60 days and make it your permanent residence, you're going to have to update yourself and get a North Carolina license. Compacts work in that way, while still giving states their sovereignty of executing the way that they do these occupational licenses. It's just getting into agreement and saying, if someone moves here from another place that we have agreed to be in this agreement with, that they can come here and they can get right to work, with the understanding that over a certain time they would have to get their licensure to the level of whatever the Commonwealth of Virginia is. So it doesn't matter what kind of occupational compact that is. This one specifically is for aesthetics, so facial. It falls under barbers and cosmetics. There is a shortage here. These compacts are an initiative of the DoD and the Council on State Governments. It was sort of a way to help military spouses, these professions that are highly used by military spouses, to get them to be able to go from state to state to be able to get right to work. So it's a workforce development tool. It's a customer access tool. There are over 18,000 estheticians in the Commonwealth. So we're just trying to make it so that they'll be able to do their job when they come here.
All right, thank you, Delegate. Are there any questions from the committee? Anyone in the audience here to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? Committee operates by motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to report this bill.
Yeah, no ropes, yep. Moved and seconded to report the bill. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. The bill reports 9-0. All right, Delegate Glass. Next, I have House Bill 1249.
Correct. All right, on your go. I'm able to go? Okay. So House Bill 1289, over the past 3 years, I've been dabbling in this thing we call the creative economy, which I think gets not enough respect. I had the opportunity 2 years ago to travel to Louisiana and talk to their Secretary of Culture and Entertainment. And they talked about how they took on the creative economy. These are creative industries, whether it's gaming, it's film, it's food, whatever it is, about how they use that to leverage international trade, import and export. There was a company in Ireland that was looking for a place to make their home in these United States, and Louisiana was courting them to come and set up shop there. The thing that got that company to come was they said they understood, if they were close to New Orleans, what the culture was there. They knew that their people would have the opportunity to enjoy robust culture. Their one concern was, would another Katrina happen? And they assured them that not literally Delegate Carlson, but their concern was that they mitigate that concern, but they said one of the factors that had them choose Louisiana, specifically a site close to New Orleans, was their people's access to have a good quality of life outside of work. And so Virginia has a robust creative economy. I mean, from out in Southwest, blues trails, to the food scene here in Richmond, we just haven't really taken this industry seriously. And quite frankly, we're in a place where we need to diversify our economies. And so this task force is established to sort of take a look at how Virginia can start leveraging our creative economy, both for bringing business to this Commonwealth, but also to understand that the folks who work here deserve a good quality of life outside of work, and that's going to get them living in spaces and places and going to different places in the Commonwealth. So this task force is established to do that, to look at the economic potential of the creative economy from a data-driven space and place.
Thank you, Delegate. Are there any questions from the committee? Anyone here to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? This bill does have a letter to go upstairs if it were to report.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to report and refer to appropriations.
Moved and seconded to report and refer the bill to appropriations. The clerk will open the roll. All right, clerk will close the roll. Bill reports 9-0. I'm starting to see numbers. 9-0. And Delegate Glass, you have one final bill.
One final bill, House Bill 1254.
You
Yes,
have the
Madam
floor.
Chair. Gratitude, Madam Chair. So this bill is a deport bill. It is a cleanup bill. What they did, we have some really great boards and commissions that take a look at how statutory language looks. There are several different specific professions where there was an establishment that they needed to clean up some language. I could pass a language around with you, but I think it would bore you. But looking at the board for architects, professional engineers, land surveyors, interior designers, landscape architects, the Board of Barbers and Cosmetology, hearing specialists and obstetricians, professional soil scientists, wetland delineators, as well as geologists. Most of the cleanup language is just for clarity. I will give an example of where it adds the word professional to engineer and land to surveyor. So it's just minor word changes that the agency needs as they try to provide clarity and simplify the code, as well as reduce some administrative cost and burden around the way code was written when this section was first created.
All right. Thank you, Delegate. Any questions from the committee?
Oh, I do.
Oh, yes.
You are correct. I have a substitute.
Substitute. Okay. Can we hear a motion to adopt the
My
substitute?
apologies. Thank you.
Okay. So moved and seconded to adopt the substitute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. The substituted bill is before us. Any questions from the committee on the bill before us? Anyone here to speak in favor of the bill?
Oh, of course.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Paul Battaglia, AIA Virginia, the Architects Across the Commonwealth, we support the bill.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and Committee, Christina Preisner with ACEC Virginia, the engineers, and we also support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any questions from the committee, or the committee operates by motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move this, I'd like to report the substitute.
Move to report the substitute. Is there a second? Clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll, and the bill reports 9-0. Thank you,
All
Delegate
right.
Buss.
Gratitude, Attorney Bennis and Councilman.
Thank you. All right. Delegate McAuliffe.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. Before you 693 and 698 today.
All right. If you want to start in numerical order, we can.
And HB 693 has a substitute for this bill.
All right. All right. Moved and seconded to adopt the substitute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. The substitute bill is before us. Delegate, you have the floor.
Great, thank you so much. So the substitute just makes a very minor correction on line 56, which strikes the phrase special education and inserts adult education after a correction from the Department of Education, which we appreciate. The bill as a whole, basically 2 years ago, the 2023, the Virginia Works Foundation was, the Virginia Works subgroup was created within the state government, and what this bill does is it just cleans up some of the language that got that started in the first place and makes sure that the technical edits and responsibilities of Virginia Works are clear. So, for example, it clarifies that Virginia Works is the initial approval for providers and programs on the eligible training provider list with the consultation of the local workforce development boards under the Federal Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act. There is no FIS for this bill. And we want to make sure that we are very clear about the roles and responsibility of Virginia Works versus other workforce agencies within the state government. So this is just pure efficiency, and I hope you pass it as fast as Billy Wagner's fastball.
Nice work in there. People will read the transcripts and wonder what we're talking about, and the relevance to today. Watch the floor for the future historians. Okay. Any questions from the committee? Anyone here to speak in favor of the bill? All right.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Anthony Reedy on behalf of Virginia Works Agency. We appreciate Delegate McCall for bringing the bill to the committee and carrying it for us, and be happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? This was Turn my microphone back on. The clerk will close the roll. Bill reports 9-0. Delegate McAuliffe, if you'd like to do House Bill 698 now.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, members of the committee. I have an amendment for this bill. I think it's an amendment that you'll like, which is that it changes the title of the foundation that this bill will create from a 8-word foundation name into a 2-word foundation name. So.
Okay, I've heard a motion and a second to adopt the amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the amended bill is before us. You can proceed.
Great. HB 698 creates the Virginia Works Foundation, which very clearly allows the Virginia Works Agency to have a foundation that accepts both non-federal as well as private dollars to be able to do some innovative work that they've been trying to do over the last couple of years and haven't been able to do. So these include internships and apprenticeships, which are more costly and sort of prohibit small to mid-sized businesses from engaging in that kind of work that is much needed for employees. It also allows them to do active partner engagement, piloting innovative solutions for job training, reskilling, and reemployment support that otherwise might be cost prohibitive. And this just creates that foundation within the state government as part of Virginia Works and establishes those responsibilities and what the duties of the foundation will do. Overall, I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to bring in, as new companies move to Virginia and as they seek help from the state government, we can also then ask them to help us with our workforce goals as well. And so I hope it be the will of the body to pass this bill. There was a FIS. The FIS came back with no clear amount attached to it. We think it can be done within the existing budget of VA Works. We have submitted a budget amendment on the off chance that's not true. So.
Okay, and we do have a letter that this would need to go to appropriations if it reports favorably, so you'll have between now and potentially then to make sure you can address that and demonstrate that it would not in fact have a FIS, but if we do move forward, we do have a letter, so we'll need to send it to appropriations, at least at this stage. So is there anyone here on the committee who has a question about the bill? And if not, I will see if there's anyone in the audience here to speak in favor of the bill.
Again, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Anthony Reedy with Virginia Works. Again, thanks to the delegate for bringing the bill today. We do anticipate that we could start up the foundation without any additional state funds, although the delegate did put in a placeholder just in case some initial startup costs. The General Assembly thought that would be beneficial, but the idea and concept of this is to establish something that'll be able to leverage non-state or federal taxpayer dollars to support workforce initiatives and give the agency and our partners a little more flexibility in how we serve constituents. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions anybody has.
All right. All right, anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? Okay, hearing none, this bill would need to be referred to appropriations if it does move out of the committee.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to report it as amended and then refer it to appropriations.
It's been moved and seconded. The clerk will open the roll. Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, she's ready now. All right, the clerk will close the roll. The bill reports 9-0. Thank you, Delegate McAuliffe.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, can we have Delegate Anderson?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Madam Chair. I do have an amendment, and they are good to go in front of you, and I would ask that you move to accept the amendment.
Moved and seconded to adopt the amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the amended bill is before us. Delegate Anderson.
Thank you. So what we have is HB 554, and basically, Madam Chair, this bill is to narrow statutory repair to Virginia's existing telework law. It does not mandate telework or expand eligibility or reduce agency authority. Most state telework has always been hybrid, usually 1 or 2 days a week, and this bill does not change that as well. It doesn't promote exclusive telework, but it just states that for more than 20 years, Virginia's telework statute worked across multiple administrations by allowing agencies to determine eligibility based on operational need and actual duties performed. After some policy changes in 2022, implementation varied widely across agencies, leading to some inconsistent outcomes, revocation of longstanding agreements, and uncertainty for both managers and employees. The bill restores clarity and guardrails in statute. It reaffirms agency and regional discretion, ties eligibility to duties rather than job titles, requires documentation for denials, and protects prior agreements unless there is documented performance or service delivery reasons not to do so. Importantly, this bill does not create new cost or mandates. There is no fiscal impact. It simply realigns practice with long-standing statutory intent so agencies can manage their workforce consistently, fairly, and effectively. And I respectfully ask for the committee's consideration.
Thank you, Delegate. Any questions from the committee at this time? All right, seeing none, I will see if there's anyone in the room who's here to speak in favor of the bill.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Jason Bly. I reside in Frederick County. I'm a state employee in a supervisory role with VDOT in the Northern Virginia District. I'm here in support of this bill because it clarifies how Virginia's telework statute is applied in practice. Telework has existed in state government since the early 2000s. The statute provides broad direction while agencies have developed policies over time to implement that direction. Recently, those statutory expectations have been applied inconsistently across agencies and regions. This bill does not mandate telework. It does not remove management discretion. It simply provides clear statutory guardrails so approvals are made consistently and aligned with existing law. Clear standards support implementation and effective supervision. And for those reasons, I respectfully ask for your support.
Thank you for being here today.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Carter T. Whitelow with the Virginia Governmental Employees Association, and I'm so grateful to the patron for bringing this bill along, and I really want you to concentrate on the man that just spoke, Jason. He's one of our members and came to us with this idea because he and so many other folks in the government have been wanting a change and a reversion to how it was on June 30th, 2022. On July 1st, policy was changed where all the telework agreements had to go directly to the chief of staff of the governor. We are looking to revert back to any agreements that happened previous to that in 2022 while also giving the agencies themselves the agency, no pun intended, to make these decisions on behalf of their employees, whether or not they be, regional-based challenges or anything of that nature. We want to have the agency be the ones that control that. One more thing, if an agency is too large, such as VDOT, we would then rely on regional solutions, also at the agency's discretion. So thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you. And we hope that you support this bill.
All right, thank you. I do have a question from Delegate Guzman on the board.
Yes, I'm speaking to the bill, Madam Chair.
Okay, let me see first if there is anyone in the room here to speak in opposition. And seeing none, I'll turn it to Delegate Guzman for her comments.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Speaking to the bill, and I have a motion at the appropriate time. I first would like to thank the delegate for bringing forward this bill. Believe it or not, people who reside in Prince William County work for the state and have been forced to drive all the way to the area to do their job when they have proven before 2022 that they could do their job successfully. So I want to thank the delegate for helping the people who live in the district and across the Commonwealth that yes, as a government employee, we can do the work from home and we can be held accountable. So with that, Madam Chair, I have a motion at the appropriate time.
It is the appropriate time as I see no one else in the speaking queue.
I move to report the bill, Madam Chair.
Second. Move as amended. You move motion to report the bill as amended, and it's been seconded. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll, and the bill reports 9-0. Thank you, Delegate Anderson. Delegate Tran. Oh, yeah. I'll do that next. Don't let me forget.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Today, in front of you, I have House Bill 1009. We, I think, in our state government ought to strive for accurate, timely, and effective communication so that all of our constituents including those who are limited English proficient or who have disabilities that affect communication, are able to access the information and services that they are entitled or eligible for. This includes healthcare, education, workforce services, housing assistance, and other public benefits. But language access across our state government remains inconsistent and uneven. This bill tries to really fill that gap and make sure that we do better. It requires our public-facing state agencies, as defined in the bill, to adopt language access policies so that our state programs and services are also meaningfully accessible to individuals with limited English proficiency or communication-related disabilities. And each public-facing agency must designate a language access coordinator who is responsible for developing, implementing, and overseeing the agency's language access efforts. Second, it also directs the Secretary of Health and Human Resources to develop statewide criteria for procuring interpretation and translation services and to establish a model language access policy that agencies can use as a foundation that helps to ensure quality, consistency, and accountability across our agencies instead of what we have right now, which is a patchwork of ad hoc solutions. And it recognizes the importance of multilingual employees that we have in our state governments. Sometimes our multilingual employees are tapped to help translate or interpret, but that's not necessarily in the scope of their work. But because they have the skill, we ask them to help share that talent. And so how do we make sure that those individuals are compensated appropriately? This bill is not a mandate to translate everything into every language spoken in Virginia, but it is about planning, coordination, intentionality, and accountability to make sure that our agencies are serving and reaching some of our most vulnerable Virginians, and that all of our constituents are able to obtain the services and participate in the programs that they are entitled to. Thank you.
Hello, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee. Rodrigo Soto with the Commonwealth Institute for Fiscal Analysis. And based on the most recently available American Community Survey data, approximately 540,000 people in Virginia have limited English proficiency, and this bill is critical to ensuring they have meaningful access to information and services provided by the state government. Whether it's someone who needs information from the DMV or a small business owner trying to access resources from the Department of Small Business and Supplier Diversity, all Virginians deserve meaningful and equitable access to public services. We ask that you support the bill.
Madam Chair, members of the subcommittee, Dana Wiggins with the Virginia Poverty Law Center. We thank the delegate for this really important report, a really important bill, and we want to make sure that people have access to justice, and this is a really huge access to justice and services bill, so we support it and thank the delegate.
My mic is not on. I felt like I could hear myself, but no one else could hear me. All right, so I'd asked for anyone in the room to speak on opposition. No one came forward. I suppose if you couldn't hear me, now's your chance. But as I think you did, we're going to turn online, and we have Chelsea Delgado from Legal Aid Justice Center, and I see your camera's on, so if you just want to come off mute, we are ready to hear your testimony.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak on this bill. I am Chelsea Delgado with the Legal Aid Justice Center, an organization that provides legal aid services across the state. LAJC supports HB 1009 because it creates language accessibility in all public-facing agencies to better serve our limited English, non-English speaking community members in the Commonwealth. Improving language accessibility in our government systems would ease a major barrier for limited English proficient communities, many of whom already experience other significant barriers to access. This bill would improve the quality of experiences for community members and build better trust and familiarity with our government during a vital time. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, I do have a question on the board from Delegate McLaughlin.
Yes.
Yes, Delegate.
I just had a question. Would this have a fiscal impact? I was curious just because it says to designate a language access coordinator, would that be someone already? It could be, but would it potentially be a new employee as well?
Madam Chair, I would am I on? I'm on. Okay, Madam Chair, I would respond to the delegate. You could, the public-facing agencies could designate an existing staff person, or they could hire somebody new. That is a decision they would have to make, but it does allow for existing staff to be designated in this role.
Okay, and just to note as well, we do have a note that this bill, if it does report favorably, would go to appropriations where that could be taken under consideration as well.
We didn't get a fifth, so I was hoping we would escape,
I
but that's
know.
okay.
I know.
It's the way of the world.
You have time. That's what we have now. That could always change. But that would be the motion if one were to make one. It would need to be referred to appropriations.
Madam Chair, this is the
It is. If we hear no other questions from the committee, we do operate by motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to report and refer it to appropriations.
Second.
Moved and seconded to report and refer the bill to appropriations. Clerk will open the roll. And the clerk will close the roll. The bill reports 7-2. Thank you, Delegate Tran.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. I want to do, there is one other administrative action before I turn the page, which I should have done at the beginning, but we're going to do it now, which is House Bill. Now, I struck through it, which is why I couldn't see it, so I need to make sure I can see it. It's House Bill 992 at the request of the patron, Delegate Garrett's House Bill 992. We had the request to strike from the docket, so we can go ahead and handle that before we turn the page on our agenda. Moved and seconded to strike House Bill 992. That is a recorded vote, so the clerk will open the roll. I think people pushed it early. All right, clerk will close the roll. The bill is struck. All right, moving on to the next page, we've got Delegate Navar. I saw you earlier. Yep, there you are. And you have two bills for us today, and we can, unless you have a preference, it's up to you, but if you don't, we can go in numerical order, starting with House Bill 1117.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to present House Bill 1117. Virginia's Universal License Recognition Program has helped skilled workers from other states join our workforce more easily. It currently covers many fields such as personal care, construction, real estate, and technical trades, but we still face workforce shortages across the Commonwealth. For people moving here for a job, military families, and others relocating for new opportunities, delays in getting licensed can be a real barrier. Universal license recognition was created so that qualified professionals would not have to redo the licensing process when they come to Virginia. But our current rule requiring an out-of-state professional to hold their license for 3 years before qualifying has proven to be more restrictive than necessary. Other states have updated their recognition laws by lowering residency or licensure duration requirements, have seen positive results. They've been able to bring skilled workers into their economies faster while still protecting public safety. House Bill 1117 modernizes Virginia's approach to match these best practices. My bill reduces the active licensure requirement from 3 years to 1 year. All other safeguards stay exactly the same. Applicants still must hold a valid license in another state with a similar scope of practice, have passed any required exams, have no pending investigations or unresolved complaints, have no disqualifying criminal history, and have paid all required fees. This bill does not lower standards. A professional who has been licensed, examined, and practicing in good standing for a year has already demonstrated the competence needed to begin work here. What this bill does is let employers fill critical openings more quickly and allow qualified workers to get started without unnecessary delay. Regulatory boards will keep full authority to deny an application if there are concerns about safety, competency, or scope of practice. They may still require jurisprudence exams when needed and can reject any applicant who does not meet Virginia's expectations. This is a workforce modernization bill. There is no fiscal impact. It helps employers, supports Virginia's economy, and strengthens our ability to attract qualified professionals while keeping strong protections for the public firmly in place. I respectfully ask for your support on House Bill 1117 and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Delegate Navar. Are there any questions at this time from members of the committee? And I don't see any questions, so I will turn to the audience and ask if there is anyone here to speak in favor of the bill. If you could please come forward.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, my name is Patrick Brigham with IBEW, the Electricians Union, Local 666 here in Richmond. This licensing reform has been truly long overdue here in Virginia. This is a really great first step, and we know it's going to absolutely help our brothers and sisters up north in Nova who deal with this issue quite a lot. So for those reasons, we support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in the room to speak in opposition? Okay, no, and there's no one online. I know we had someone to sign up, so I just want to make sure there's no one online for this bill. Okay. Any other questions from the committee?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to report.
All right, we have a motion to report the bill that's been seconded. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. Bill reports 8-0. Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you.
And if you would like to now do House Bill 1305.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks again, Madam Chair and members of the subcommittee for the opportunity to present House Bill 1305. This bill makes a small but important update to Virginia's professional regulatory system, which is overseen by the Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation, otherwise known as DPOR. It gives DPOR's 20 regulatory boards covering professions from barbers, real estate agents, contractors, and architects, an additional tool for handling minor or first-time violations. Right now, when someone with a license makes a small or first-time mistake, boards only have a few disciplinary options, which are probation, suspension, revocation, or refusing to renew a license. These penalties are appropriate for more serious violations or when someone is harmed, but they can be too harsh for low-level or first-time issues. For example, a real estate agent turned in the buyer's earnest money late, but it didn't cause any problems and the sale still went fine. A cosmetologist has a first-time sanitation violation with no consumer harm. A wastewater operator submits a required report late. So House Bill 1305 allows DPOR boards to handle situations like these differently. The bill lets a board take a case under advisement, delay making a formal finding, and dismiss the case if the licensee meets certain conditions. This approach, called deferred disposition, helps someone correct a small first-time mistake without facing a penalty so severe it could threaten their ability to keep working and supporting themselves. It also gives boards more flexibility to resolve minor cases fairly and efficiently while still protecting the public. It's important to note that this bill does not change how complaints begin. They still go through the normal intake, investigation, hearing, and decision process. The only change comes at the final stage, where a board may decide that a deferred disposition is appropriate based on the facts. This option would only apply to minor or first-time issues that do not involve consumer harm, public safety concerns, or serious misconduct. Major violations would still receive the full range disciplinary actions, including suspension or revocation. In practice, under a deferred disposition, the licensee must follow clearly defined conditions for a set period of time. If they meet those conditions and no new problems come up, the case is dismissed. If a new complaint is filed, the board can consider both cases together. This tool already exists for the real estate board and has worked well in other fields, including health-related professions. Expanding it across all DPOR boards creates more consistency, reduces unnecessary administrative burden, and allows the boards to focus their resources on serious or repeat violations. DPOR supports this bill and does not expect opposition. There's no fiscal impact. If it passes, the agency will create clear guidance to ensure boards use deferred dispositions fairly and consistently. House Bill 1305 offers a balanced, modern approach to professional regulation. It keeps the public safe while giving boards the ability to match the response to the actual seriousness of the violation. I respectfully ask the committee's support and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Delegate. Any questions from the committee? And if not, I'll ask if there is anyone in the audience who would like to come forward to speak in favor of the bill.
Paul Battaglia, AI Virginia, Architects Across the Commonwealth. We support the bill.
Thank you.
Christina Preisner, ACEC Virginia, the engineers, we support this bill.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Jennifer Tsai with DPOR. We just want to thank the patron for carrying this legislation.
Thank you. Any opposition to the bill? And seeing no one online, committee operates by motion.
Madam Chair, I move to report.
Moved and seconded to report the bill. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. The bill reports 9-0. Thank you, Delegate.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee.
All right. Delegate Cole. Not you.
Hello, Madam Chair and committee. Delegate Cole from Spotsylvania. Madam Chair, you have before you HB 1176. I'd like to speak to the bill.
All right. You have the floor.
All right. HB 1176 addresses a practical but persistent problem, outdated quorum requirements that prevent regulatory boards from meeting and doing their jobs. It focuses on two boards, the Appels Board and the PSS-WPG Board. And first, for the Appels Board, the General Assembly already acted in 2024 by temporarily reducing quorum requirements through House Bill 350 with a 2-year sunset. That change allowed one professional from each regulated discipline plus a citizen member to satisfy quorum. Over the past 2 years, that model has worked exactly as intended. The board has not canceled a single meeting due to lack of quorum, compared to roughly 2 canceled meetings per year under the prior standard. This bill simply makes that proven, effective quorum structure permanent, preventing the statute from reverting to in 2026 to a standard that is known to cause operational problems and additional costs. Second, the bill applies the same successful model to the Board for Professional Soil Scientists, Wetland Professionals, and Geologists. Under current law, that board requires 7 members present, including 2 professionals from each discipline, plus a citizen member. In practice, those requirements have already resulted in canceled meetings due to unavoidable absences. The bill revises that quorum so the board may conduct business with 1 soil scientist, 1 wetland professional, 1 geologist, and 1 citizen member. This ensures the board can meet consistently, make timely regulatory decisions, and continue protecting public and environmental interests. Importantly, this legislation does not reduce oversight, dilute expertise, or remove public representation. Each discipline remains represented, and the citizen member requirement is preserved. What it does bring is quorum rules in line with modern board operations and real-world scheduling realities. This bill takes a model that has already been tested, proven, and supported by experience and makes it permanent where appropriate and consistent where it's needed. If the committee has any questions, I will turn it over to Jennifer Tsai and her team from the Department of Professional and Occupational Regulation.
Thank you, Delegate Cole. Are there any questions from members of the committee? And seeing none, I'll ask if there's anyone in the audience who would like to come forward and speak in favor of the bill today.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Jen Tsai with DPOR. Just want to thank the patron for carrying this legislation. It's a simple but very important bill, so thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Paul Battaglia, AI Virginia, the Architects Across the Commonwealth. We've observed the benefits of this procedure over the last couple years. We support the bill and with a particular appreciation for the fact that it respects the composite nature of our board.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and committee members, Christina Preisner with ACEC Virginia, the engineers. We fall under the Pell Board and we support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone in the audience here to speak in opposition?
Madam Chair, member of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Eli Wright. I am a business owner of a small environmental consulting firm based here in Richmond, Virginia. I'm also a professional wetland delineator in Virginia, and I'm serving on the certification committee of the Virginia Association of Wetland Professionals. Today I'm here to speak in those capacities. I wanted to briefly comment on this bill, which proposes to reduce the quorum requirements for the Board of Professional Soil Scientists, wetland professionals, and geologists in part. I understand the motivation behind this bill. I've been to multiple meetings and understand the struggle that can be had with scheduling and quorum challenges necessary to conduct actions by the board. But there is one thing I wanted to flag of a concern, given the board structure. The board in question is designed to have multiple members of the profession represented on the board. Specifically for the wetland profession, under Part A of the statute, the board is required to make up members from different backgrounds, including academics, regulatory people, and practitioners. This bill would eliminate having potential folks from those varied backgrounds represented, and runs the risk that the board actions could occur without sufficient technical breadth and occupation professional context in the room. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm happy to have additional comments if time allows. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Delegate Cole, if you would like to, have the final word, and I guess if you do have some thoughts about consideration of expanding. I know this had been an issue discussed in sessions past about possibly, and I don't know if it was specifically for this board or perhaps several others, the idea of also expanding the qualifications for membership as another means to be able to have more in attendance, and that may be a separate consideration for a different piece of legislation. But if you do have any comments that you'd like to respond, we'd be happy to hear them at this time.
I would just say that when the boards can't meet because it lacks a quorum, it actually creates additional costs for business owners with items before the boards, as well as the costs for the members to come who do come and then aren't able to meet. So with that, I would say thank you to the chair and members of the committee, and would like to move the bill forward as is at this time.
Any questions from the committee?
Madam Chair, I'd like to move to report the bill.
Second. All right, moved and seconded to report the bill. The clerk will open the roll. All right, clerk will close the roll. The bill reports 9-0. Thank you, delegate. All right, let me see. All right, Delegate Hernandez, I see you here.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last but not least. Oh, well, if you'd like to go first.
We got someone hiding, and then we have a member of the committee, so we're getting close, though. We are getting close.
I'm just kidding, Madam Chair. All right.
couldn't
This
tell.
is HB 1311, and this is a bill for the Virginia School for the Deaf and the Blind. But just some quick background. So under current law, Section 2.2, 3106, that allows certain state employees, including those in public institutions of higher ed, to enter into contracts with the Commonwealth to make available textbooks and other educational materials that were created by that state employee. So the familiar example that we'll all know, that professor who uses the textbook that he or she authored in the class that they teach. And what this bill would do is add to the section of the code, employees at the Virginia School for the Deaf and Blind in Stanton, Virginia, which operates under the Department of Ed. And I bring this legislation in my capacity as a member of the board of VSDB, which is an amazing place if you have never been. There are students there with highly specialized needs, deaf, blind, or deaf and blind. the employees, the instructors, are also something of unicorns because they are fluent in American Sign Language, or they know Braille, or they know both. I'm fluent in American Sign Language, and I think I'm pretty cool, and I can't imagine knowing how to do both of those things fluently. So given both the unique needs of the students and the unique needs of the employees, I believe and the board believes that VSDB employees should be on the same legal footing as college professors if they create educational resources and make them available to students throughout the Commonwealth. And I'll just note one concrete example where this has actually come up. The current interim superintendent of the school, before she took her role, made this training assessment for deaf and hard of hearings to help them transition from school to the workforce. But because of her new role, she cannot offer that assessment at VSDB. So I think we're missing out on resources that would uniquely serve these students, and hope it will be the will of the committee to support this bill.
All right, thank you, Delegate. We do have a question from Delegate Cole.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm wondering if the patron of the bill would just humor me and give us the title of the bill in American Sign Language.
Oh, do you want the number? What is this? So this would be Bill number 1311.
And follow up, Madam Chair?
Delegate Cole.
And the title of the bill as well.
Madam Chair, I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Well, you might want to save it for the floor.
I'll meet up with you later.
We'll save it for when it gets to the floor potentially. Okay, Delegate McLaughlin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just like to thank the patron for bringing this forward. This school was in my district, and it is truly an amazing place, and this will really help the students there and the faculty, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate. All right, anyone in the audience to speak in favor of the bill? Anyone opposed? And I know we think we'd had someone signed up online, but I do not see anyone online at the moment, so the committee operates by motion.
Madam Chair,
Delegate?
just a quick comment before I make a motion.
Oh, yes, I do see you on the board. I'm sorry. Delegate McClure, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a very thoughtful bill, as we're always trying to improve accessibility across the Commonwealth. So I also thank the patron for bringing this forward, and I have a motion at the appropriate time.
It is the appropriate time,
All
Delegate.
right, I move to report.
Second.
Moved and seconded to report the bill. The clerk will open the roll. All right, the clerk will close the roll, and the bill reports 9-0. Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, Delegate Wiley, you've got two, and it is up to you which order you do them in, but if you want to do them in numerical order, we'll start with 1289 unless you tell me otherwise. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and good afternoon, committee members. Well, it's that time of year that we have to present the annual geology bill. So in front of you, I need to move the substitute, by the way, Madam Chair.
So moved. All right, moved and seconded to adopt the substitute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the substitute is before us. Delegate Wiley.
Thank you. HB 1289 completes the work that we had begun last session regarding the licensure and regulation of professional geologists in Virginia. We actually tried to include these provisions in previous legislation, but it required a little bit more work and fine-tuning with other stakeholders, namely the American Council of Engineering Companies, or ACEC. As you've heard me talk about this the past years, professional geologists have an impressively diverse array of job responsibilities directly related to the health, safety, and welfare of the general public and the environment across Virginia. They assist with the major transportation projects, water supply projects, environmental protection projects, major other construction projects related, both private and public, and more. They work hard in hand with other highly regulated industries, most notably engineers and architects. This legislation further recognizes their important work and includes them under the Virginia Public Procurement Act as a professional service, quote unquote. They join engineers, architects, and several other regulated professions in this section. This is important as professional services are treated with more scrutiny under the Virginia Public Procurement Act. Public bids for professional services under the VPPA are not just evaluated for lowest cost, but rather for qualification, responsibilities, and suitability. The vetting processes for these bids is much more thorough. Additionally, this legislation proposes new continuing education requirements to ensure that, like their peer professions, professional geologists are held to thorough annual education requirements that keep their knowledge and skill sets updated and relevant. I'm here to answer any questions, and I have some other folks here to answer as well if there's further technical questions. I think I might have somebody in the virtual queue as well. Thank you.
All right, we'll keep an eye out for that online. If there are any questions from the committee at this time, or we can hear from those who are here to speak. Oh, yeah, Delegate Cole, you do have a question.
I just have a quick question for the patron. Can he testify that this is built on rock-solid facts?
Madam Chair, I'm getting used to these questions, considering past legislation regarding the subject matter, and I would say absolutely this is a rock-solid piece of legislation. So thank you, the delegate, for the question.
Thank you. The delegate had to know that was coming. We just didn't know when. So if we can turn to the room and see if there's anyone here to speak in favor of this bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Chris McDonald on behalf of the Association of Environmental and Engineering Geologists. We want to thank Delegate Wiley for bringing this legislation. We know you've seen a number of bills dealing with geology and the regulation of the practice over the last several years, and we really appreciate your patience and support as we've worked through this. To Delegate Cole's point, we've taken nothing for granted with this bill, and we hope it is will this body to report it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Chair and committee members, Christina Preisner with ACEC Virginia, the engineers. We work closely with the geologists, and we do think this bill rocks. Thank you.
Amazing. That's exactly what we needed to hear. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to the bill? And I don't see anyone online. Any final questions or puns? Oh, yes. Delegate Cole, I see you in the speaking queue.
Madam Chair,
Delegate
lest
Cole.
this discussion erodes further, and
Indeed.
I agree that this is a gem of a bill, I would like to motion that we report.
Second. Moved and seconded to report the bill as substituted. All right, the clerk will open the roll. No, I don't use them all. I got one more. All right, the clerk will close the roll, and the bill reports 8-0. Thank you. Delegate Wiley, you now have House Bill 1291.
Yes, Madam Chair, and this, once again, is a geology bill, but this is being brought forward from the request of the DPOR to line up with the federal government agencies, and I'll kind of briefly summarize a little bit of it. This bill would add an exemption for geology licensure for federal employees performing geology-related work. If you recall, House Bill 1835 last year, which I carried and enacted last session, established licensure requirements for individuals practicing geology in Virginia and included several exceptions. However, it did not exempt federal geologists who perform work on federal property in the Commonwealth or who assist state agencies in joint investigations. As a result, these federal employees are currently subject to Virginia licensure requirements, despite operating under federal authority. The proposed amendment would clarify the law, remove unnecessary regulatory barriers, and support smoother coordination between federal and state agencies while maintaining the integrity of Virginia's licensing framework. Some folks here from DPR, if you have any further questions, thank you.
All right, well, first I see, oh, no, dropped out of the speaking queue. All right, it's coming later. Any questions from the committee? Then we'll hear from anyone in the audience who'd like to speak in favor of the bill.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Jen Tsai with DPOR. We think this bill is also rock solid and appreciate the delegate for carrying it.
Thank you so much.
Chris McDonald again on behalf of the Association of Environmental and Engineering Geologists. We don't have a position on the bill, but we do want to express our gratitude to both the patron and DPOR for coming to us in the off season to flag this idea and try to work through it with us.
Fantastic, thank you.
Christina Preisner, ACEC Virginia, the engineers. We do support this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, anyone here in opposition? And there's no one online. Any final questions? Oh, okay, we've got a few. Delegate McLaughlin?
I was just going to say that I'd like to make a motion at the appropriate time.
I'm going to recognize Delegate Cole, who's going to compete for it.
Well, Madam Chair, I was just going to say, it seems like they've come to solid ground on this bill, and they've reached a bedrock agreement to walk together. And so that I would like to move that we report the bill.
Delegate McLaughlin, would you like to?
I won't throw rocks at that, Madam Chair. Thank you so much. I'll second.
All right, that's fantastic agreement. I appreciate the motion and the second from this amazing committee. The clerk will open the roll. It's a great time of year. Clerk will close the roll, and the bill reports 8-0. Thank you, Delegate Wiley.
Madam Chair, committee members.
All right, thank you for your patience. And then I think the last bill that we have is a member of our committee, Delegate Guzman. If you would like to go to the podium, that is your discretion, and we will see you there for House Bill. Get on that page.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a substitute for your consideration.
Okay, so we have House Bill 494. There's a substitute.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adopt the substitute. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the substitute is before us. Delegate Guzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 494 with a substitute aims to address the federal job cuts resulting in a net decline of 23,500 civilian federal jobs through November of 2025 by establishing a hiring preference in the state government for only Virginians who were terminated from federal employment on or after April 1st, 2025. Federal job cuts are hurting Virginia and working families, Madam Chair. Virginia's federal workforce has always been able to rely on the stability of their jobs. For many of my constituents, working for the federal government meant a dream job. Furthermore, fewer workers translates to fewer tax revenues, especially to cities and counties in the Northern Virginia and across Virginia, the region that accounts for about half of the economic activity in the state. In Prince William County alone, 16% of the workforce are federal employees. Similar legislation, Madam Chair, has already passed in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and New York. This bill will keep skilled and experienced Virginia workers in Virginia, stabilize tax revenues, and benefit businesses. Together, we can reclaim our spot as the #1 state for businesses in the country and improve our rating for working families. This bill has a sunset provision of January 21st, 2029. And I have also reached out to DPOR where they have no concerns for the bill. I reached out also to the Office of the Attorney General just to discuss the constitutionality. They don't see any foreseen issues moving forward this bill. And I present this bill to the subcommittee for consideration, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Delegate Guzman. Are there any questions from the committee? All right, seeing none, I will turn to the audience and ask if there's anyone here to speak in favor of the bill. And seeing none, I will ask if there is anyone to speak in opposition. And we have no one online. All right.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move it and refer it to appropriations.
Report, so the motion to report the substitute and refer to appropriations been moved, and you hear a second. The clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll. The bill reports and refers to appropriations by a vote of 6-2.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the subcommittee.
Thank you, Delegate Guzman. And I believe this completes the committee's work for today, subcommittee's work for today. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Next meeting will be at 3:35.
Okay, just before we adjourn, and for anyone listening to the live stream, the next meeting will be, you said at 3:35, will be the next subcommittee, which I believe is housing. Housing will be meeting at about 3:35 for anyone listening. But I've heard a motion to adjourn in a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Thank you all.